Hey, what's going on guys? Tanmay here for Telusco Learnings and welcome back to another video tutorial under JavaScript for beginners, especially the jQuery part. And this is sort of like the part 2 under jQuery DOM manipulations that we've been going through. And in the previous video tutorial, we saw 4 different jQuery inbuilt methods which were enabling us to perform DOM manipulations. So the first one was the text method, which was enabling us to change the text or retrieve the text from the paragraph or any other HTML element which has some text. Then the HTML method worked in the same way, with the minor difference that it also returned the entire HTML elements if the text had any HTML elements in it. And the last two were the attribute and CSS method. And in the attribute and CSS method, I missed out on how you can change the attribute and how you can change the CSS. So we retrieved the value, that is we got the value of particular attribute or a particular CSS style, but I did not mention how to set or change that value. So here I'll just quickly do that, so sort of like a part 2 of that video since that part was missed out. So let's start off with the coding. I hope you've watched the previous video. So we have two buttons with two different button IDs, set value and get value over here. We have a division, we have a paragraph with their respective IDs and classes. And here what we'll do is first we'll just alert attribute of this paragraph. So let me just quickly write the code. I'm gonna say alert. Inside the alert box, okay, so this has to happen on the click method, okay. So the click method of the button, right? So let's do that on get value. So I'm gonna say dollar opening and closing hash btn2. So this is the selector. So we are using the ID selector to select the button whose ID is btn2, and we're gonna say click. Inside this I'm gonna create an anonymous function. Here I'm gonna say alert, and in the alert I'm again gonna select the paragraph with the ID p1. Okay, so that's the ID of this paragraph. I'm going to say .attr, and the attribute that you are looking for is the name of the class. Okay, so this is the name of the attribute, that is class, and the value of that attribute class is p1 class, right? So that's what we are trying to fetch over here, and if I click on get value, you can see we get p1 class. So this is something that we saw, but I did not show you how to change this, right? So in order to change this, let me just comment this out. You have to use the same syntax. You have to select the paragraph. You have to call the attribute. But now what you want to do is you want to add a comma and add one more argument, which is going to be the value. Okay. So I'm going to say p2 class. Okay. So this is the value of the attribute named class. So this is name and this is value. So this is sort of like a name value pair. Similarly, here what you're doing is we are saying change the attribute value to p2 class, and the name of that attribute is going to be class. Okay, so if I click on this, and let's do this on set value. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to replace the btn2 to btn1. So let's click on set value, and let me just comment this over here and uncomment this. So on set we are changing the value. If I click on it, let's see the value has changed or not. It has to be p2 class now. So let's click on get value, and there you go. Now the value has changed, right? So this is how you can also change the value using the attribute method or attr method, which we did not cover in the first part. Now similar to this, we can also go around and work around with the CSS method. So let's see how the CSS method works. So I'm gonna just copy this entire line, paste it over here. I'm gonna call the CSS method because we have selected the same paragraph, and what we want is the font name, okay, or its font family, right? So let's click on get value, and you can see the font family is Times New Roman. Now you can change this by again the same syntax. So let's go to btn1. Let's copy this entire thing. Let's paste it over here. Let's change the attr to CSS, and now we'll change the font family, or in fact let's change the font size for simplicity. Let's do it to 25 pixel. Okay, and here what we'll do is we'll retrieve that same thing. I'm gonna say font size, and let's see if this works. So if I click on set value, you can see immediately the size of the paragraph text has increased to 25 pixel, and if I see, and if I want to confirm it, if I click on get value, there you go, you can see 25 pixel. So this was the two things that was left out. I showed how to fetch the values using the attr and CSS, but not how to actually set values. So we did the set value over here in this video. So this completes the 4 methods. In the next video, we'll perform some more DOM manipulations. So these DOM manipulations were working on the text inside the different HTML elements, right? So this can be applied to some other elements also who has some text inside. So it can work with anchor tag, it can work with division. Right now we were just manipulating everything for a particular paragraph, right? So this can pretty much work for divisions also, can work for anchor tags and anything which has some text inside. So what if you want to actually manipulate the entire element itself? So for that we have some other functions and other methods. So that we'll see in the next video. So that's it for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments how this video was. If you like this, please give